Well, hello there everybody, and welcome to the 4th installment of DoomGuy Joins Smash. And if you can't tell, I'm very excited for today's topic. If this is the first you've heard of this series, do yourself a favor and click wherever I'm pointing out on the screen to get to the series playlist, where you can start from the very first episode and get yourself all caught up. Last time, we talked about the stage that would be included in Doomslayer's Challenger Pack, but today, we're going to be talking about all of the amazing music that will play on this stage. For the original game tracks, I've stuck with the original recordings. However, for new arrangements, I've gotten together some of the best fan-made covers from across the Doom community to represent how I would love to see these tracks interpreted by the Smash music team. For this Challenger Pack, I've narrowed down the selection of music to 30 pieces, including the victory theme. Now, realistically, if Doomslayer actually got in, I don't think he would have that many tracks included. However, Terry did manage to get 50 tracks, so who knows? Anything is possible. That precedent's already been set. And hey, this is all a dream scenario to begin with anyway, so I don't mind overshooting the mark a little bit. I've also decided not to include Doom 1 and 2 tracks which are clearly covers of other songs. For example, Untitled is a cover of Mouth for War by Pantera, or Bye Bye American Pie is a cover of Them Bones by Alice in Chains. Now, just about every song in Doom is loosely influenced on prior rock and heavy metal songs. However, I'm talking about the pieces that are explicitly trying to emulate those tracks. I'm unsure if those songs would be eligible for Smash since they're based on pieces that originated outside of a video game. Then again, the Mario Bros. Arrangement in Brawl by Shogo Sakai references Beethoven, so what do I know? But that being said, eliminating those pieces also makes this list a little easier to narrow down. Not by much. We're going to go in release order, just like it's organized in Smash. I'll let the track play out for a bit, then I'll start talking about its history and why I chose it before moving on to the next selection. I will also include all of the fan covers in the video description below so that you can listen to the full works by all of these talented individuals without the disruption of my annoying voice. Anyways, enough with this introduction, let's listen to some Doom music. Starting this list off as the track that started it all, At Doom's Gate, one of the most iconic video game themes of all time, which plays in the hangar level, aka E1M1 in Doom. This theme has reappeared in multiple titles in the franchise, including the upcoming Doom Eternal. However, the one being used here is the original recording by Bobby Prince. Now technically this is the remastered version that appears on the Ultimate Doom PC port from 1995. While having some slightly different instrumentation to the 1993 recording, the 95 recording is the most recognizable version of this track, so I feel that's the best one to include. That's not all though. Much like how the retro Street Fighter II tracks include both the arcade and SNES versions, At Doom's Gate will also include the SNES version as well. Damn, listen to all that reverb. The Imps song plays in Doom's second level, the nuclear plant aka E1M2. Despite the name of the title, this is not explicitly the theme of the Imps, one of Doom's basic enemy variants. In fact, Imps make an appearance in the previous level too. This cover you're listening to right now is done by Andrew Holschel, a very prominent musician in the Doom fan community. Andrew has released a cover album of him reinterpreting the entire Doom 1 soundtrack called IDKFA, and it's completely free, so go download it right now. It's really good. A few more of those covers might be popping up throughout this video as well. Beyond those credentials, he's also composed a variety of indie shooters such as Dusk, as well as portions of the Quake Champions soundtrack. Dude's got a hell of a resume. This next track, Dark Halls, is one of my favorite pieces of video game music of all time. It plays in Doom's third level, Toxin Refinery, aka E1M3. There are plenty of wonderful, unique interpretations of this theme, but in the end I went with this cover by Salvatore Simone, who went with a purely synth-based take as opposed to the electric guitars commonly found in most covers of this piece. The reason I chose this version was, one, to add some variety to all the Doom music being added to Smash. Metal is one of my favorite genres of music, and it makes up the majority of the tracks I'm adding. As it should, this is Doom. But that being said, it's not the only genre Doom pulls from, nor does it have to in Smash, since the entire point of it is to reinterpret the music in a variety of styles that will still fit the thematic elements of the stage it plays on. And two, Salvatore Simone's cover reflects the intent of Bobby Prince's original composition better than any other cover I've been able to find. I absolutely love this rendition. Next up is Kitchen Ace and Taking Names, the theme of the Command Control level, aka E1M4. This is another cover by Andrew Holschult. This track actually shares a lot of similarities to the main riff in Rise from Pantera's '92 album Vulgar Display of Power. However, it plays around with it enough to make it stand out as its own unique track, so I'm counting it. When asked what song should be included in this pack, this was one of the most requested pieces of music to include. It's clearly a fan favorite from the original Doom, and it definitely earned its spot. You are now listening to I Saw the Demons, the theme that plays in the Deimos anomaly level in Doom, aka E2M1. Of all the metal-inspired tracks that appear throughout the Doom series, this is probably the lightest of the bunch, giving off a much more of a classic rock vibe within the original MIDI recording. There are quite a lot of covers of this song all over the internet, but this one right here by Mechanosaurus I think is the most faithful to the original. Not just because of the accurately recreated drum interludes between each verse, but because of the improvisation and pulls and the guitar solos. The playing all feels very relaxed and loose compared to the other covers that I've been able to find, which while still good in their own right, lose a little bit of what makes this track so special in the first place. Waltz of the Demons is the theme of Doom's Spawning Vats level, aka E2M7. This is one of the most unique level themes made for any Doom game, as it's made to emulate that of a classical romantic era 3/4 dance ballad. It's been referenced in part in other Doom tracks, particularly in Doom 2016's BFG division, but the classical elements of this track have yet to reappear again. This cover, once again done by Andrew Holschult, keeps those classical instruments intact alongside some light synthesized electronics that act as dissonant pushback to the strings, giving off a more eerie vibe than the original track while still holding true to its original intent. Finally, we have Donna to the Rescue, the theme of Doom's Slough of Despair level, aka E3N2. This song's title is one of many in the game's soundtrack that directly references an id Software employee as opposed to something within the game's lore. In this case, that employee is Donna Jackson, an office manager who worked with the company from its inception over 20 years ago, known by the staff in its early days as the id Mom. Once more, Andrew Holschult's rendition is being used as the model in this video to represent what a new Smash arrangement could sound like. Finishing off the Doom 1 tracks is a cover of At Doom's Gate, which we had listened to earlier in its original form. You didn't think I was just going to skip including a new arrangement though, did you? This is Doom's most iconic theme. This cover was done by Michael Mack and Gabriel Lepardi. Is that Lepardi or Leopardi? I'm not sure. Apologize if I'm getting your name wrong, Gabriel. But that's not all. My interpretation of how this theme should be implemented is as a medley. The only one to be found in this challenger pack, in fact. The other song joining in on the action, well, listen. Running from Evil from Doom 2 plays in the opening level, Entryway, aka Map 01. This portion of the medley was done by Nemestade. For this section, I was looking for a cover that still incorporated the angelic choir synths from the original, but without abandoning that delicious rhythm guitar that makes up the background in solos. This medley serves as a nice transition from Doom 1 to 2, so let's see what else we can expect from Doom 2's musical selection. The Healer Stocks is the theme of Doom 2's second level, Underhalls, aka Map 02. Unlike much of the other music in this challenger pack, the Healer Stocks, both the original as well as the cover you're listening to right now by Electric Guitar Tom, is a very minimalistic track. It focuses on the hi-hats of the percussion, light plucks from the bass guitar, and analog light synths creating the main melody. Despite its low profile and overall subtlety, I still think it's a track that could work in Smash. This is especially apparent in the final third of the track when the synthesized organ joins in for a nice solo. The next song up is Countdown to Death, the theme for Doom 2's Gauntlet level, aka Map 03. Okay, so every single one of these cover songs for the most part recreates the atmosphere of their original counterparts to a degree despite using different instruments. This cover by Lashmush is the one exception though, effectively increasing the BPM by 50%, adding an extended intro with an emphasis on triplets and a much greater focus on electric guitar, which isn't as pronounced in the original. Overall, the track gives off a much different tone than the original, and I'm fine with that. It sounds so badass, and Doom is badass, so it works. Between levels comes from the focus level in Doom 2, aka Map 04. This cover I'm showing off here, which was done by Deadfloof, is another non-metal inspired track. What's different here, however, is that the original recording was trying to emulate live instruments found in rock and metal, with synthesizers that replicated an acoustic drum kit's snare, hi-hats, and ride cymbals, as well as a dominant bass guitar which made up the original melody. The Deadfloof cover, meanwhile, is a unique electronic DJ take on the original that still remains very faithful despite utilizing a different genre entirely. It's absolutely banging and provides an even more diverse line in the music contained within this challenger pack. Oh, you didn't think I was just gonna skip this song, did you? Into Sandy City plays in the level entitled The Pit, aka Map 09. I mentioned earlier that Kitchen Ace and Taking Names was one of the most requested tracks in the fan poll I did for this episode. However, I chose my words very carefully, as it wasn't the most requested track. That award goes to Into Sandy City, and that should come as no surprise for people in the Doom fan community who are watching this, as it's arguably one of the most popular songs that crosses the aisle of all fans, regardless of which game they mark as their favorite. This is another song that references an id Software employee, this time being Sandy Peterson, a prominent level designer who joined the team shortly before the release of the original Doom. The cover you're listening to right now was done by Metal for Life. Well, that wraps up all of the Doom 2 tracks included in this Challenger pack, but before we move on to the next game, let's make a quick detour and check out this next track right here. had asked me just a few months ago if I expected any final Doom tracks to be included in a potential Doom Slayer Challenger pack, I would have given a hard no. But today, I actually don't think the possibility is that far-fetched. For clarification, Sadistic plays in the first level of TNT Evolution, one of 2 single-player Doom level packs included in the final Doom expansion. This was released exclusively on PC and PlayStation, with the PlayStation version featuring an alternate soundtrack composed by Aubrey Hodges, who did the PlayStation port of Doom along with Doom 64. The final Doom expansion has remained exclusive to these platforms since its release in 1996, and has long since been forgotten in the public eye due to its single-player not technically being canon. However, late last year, id Software announced in one of their 25th Doom anniversary Twitch streams that the most recent ports of Doom 1 and 2 from July 2019 were getting massive updates. One of those updates was the introduction of free, downloadable, curated maps. The first batch of downloadable maps included both the Plutonio Experiment and TNT Evolution, the 2 map packs in the final Doom expansion. This marks the first time these single-player campaigns have been ported to new platforms since its original release over 20 years ago, much to the delight of the Doom fan community. With this resurgence, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see some final Doom representation. The cover you're listening to right now was done by Davester2296 Covers, and he has a lot of classic Doom covers aside from this on his YouTube channel, so definitely check those out too if you have the opportunity. Now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to a brand new entry in the Doom series, not an expansion. That's right, it's time to check out the sequel to Doom 2. I think a lot of you watching this right now probably saw this setup coming from a mile away. But maybe some of the viewers are confused. Perhaps you were expecting a different game to show up instead, one with maybe only 1 digit. Well, for the uninitiated, Doom 64 is in fact chronologically the next game in the timeline after Doom 2. If we do get the Doom Slayer in Super Smash Bros., regardless if he appears in Ultimate or a future title, I feel like there has to be a track from Doom 64, which has been a Nintendo 64 exclusive mainline entry in the Doom series for quite some time. On top of that, this title was ported to PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and of course, the Nintendo Switch on March 20th, alongside the release of Doom Eternal. This newfound relevance of Doom 64 alongside its close history with Nintendo makes it an optimal, dare I say, necessary title to pull some music from. Luckily, however, when it comes to music that fits Smash, Doom 64's options are much more limited and thus makes it easier to choose from, unlike some of the other games we've gone through thus far. While I think there's an argument to be made for the main theme that plays during the title sequence, I think that the perfect choice is the stats screen theme, which also includes leitmotifs referencing the main theme, which is itself a rearrangement of Aubrey Hodges' original Doom theme for the PlayStation port. Okay, now it's time to move on to a new game, and this I'm pretty sure you all know what's coming up. There are a handful of quote-unquote must-have Doom tracks that are simply required to be in a theoretical Doomslayer Challenger pack. The hits, if you would, in concert terms. And I think the vast majority of the Doom fan community would argue that the Doom 3 main theme is very much a part of this category. I literally cannot imagine it not being included. It might not be as recognizable to the casual fans as, say, At Doom's Gate, but it's another fan favorite theme within the community, and it's even been referenced later in Doom 2016's score done by Mick Gordon. Much like Doom 64, Doom 3 mainly comprises of an ambiance score for most of its musical selection. This is even more emphasized than Doom 64, as Doom 3 plays closer to a survival horror game than that of a typical first-person shooter. That being said, the title theme for Doom 3 oozes classic Doom with its seemingly Tool-inspired progressive rock original theme, composed by Chris Vrenna. Now our next game isn't going to hit store shelves for well over a decade, so we're going to have to travel through space and time and multiple console generations so that we can awaken from our great slumber into a brand new era of Doom. A resurrection, if you will.
And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doom Slayer.
It's time. Doom 2016 brought back the Doom series from the dead, and there's a very good chance that it was the first game in the series for many of the viewers watching this series. Alongside this new entry came one of the best video game soundtracks of the last decade, done by Mick Gordon, who's made quite a name for himself in large part because of the work he did on this score. This isn't the first song that appears in the game, however it's the first song that plays in the official soundtrack, so we'll start this right off the bat with Rip and Tear. It's one of the more speedy tracks present in the Doom series thus far, replicating the thrash metal influence of the classic games, alongside a modern coat of paint and production in the form of 9-string guitars and a ludicrous number of effects pedals. A big turn from Rip and Tear, Rust, Dust, and Guts is one of the more slower action songs present in Doom 2016. The track is split into a variety of different parts that interchange between the arena battles the Slayer will endure on the surface of Mars. These can include heavy distorted solo bass synths, as well as various full band measures. The track itself as a whole, when all the stems are combined together, is split into two main parts. The first consisting mainly of electronic digital instruments and distorted sine waves, while the second part of the piece introduces guitar and percussion to emulate the more grittier moments of combat, as well as the introduction of some main melodies. Flesh and Metal is my personal favorite song from Doom 2016. I'll just get that out of the way right up front. If I could just use one single word to sum up the overall feeling or the vibes of this piece, it would be pure and utter chaos. In a GDC talk about the creation of Doom 2016's music, Mick Gordon described the sound he was going for as the overall sensation. He wanted to give the feeling that the sound present throughout the soundtrack were being corrupted in real time from the demonic forces and brutality of the combat. I personally feel like that vision was especially realized in this piece. I always love it when non-diegetic pieces of music still find ways to interpret the natural world around the characters despite not originating from the environment. It's one of the main reasons why I love the Metroid soundtrack so much, to slightly get off topic. The small tangent aside, this track goes back and forth between digital instruments and dropped 9-string guitars that pierce through the track at unexpected points. Coupling this with some unexpected early pickups in a few measures lets this claustrophobic, energetic combat piece truly manifest itself and come to life. Oh yeah, of course, we had to include the star of the show. BFG Division is without a doubt the fan favorite track from Doom 2016, and there is no conceivable scenario where Doomslayer gets into Super Smash Bros. Without the inclusion of this track. BFG Division actually plays earlier on in the Doom 2016 campaign during the Argent Energy Tower climb. However, the full theme is played in the depths of the Advanced Research Complex, which houses the BFG 9000, hence where this piece gets its name from. It uses a 12/8 compound time signature, which is pretty unique in terms of Doom music and makes it stand out from some of the other pieces on that merit alone. Its fan favorite status is merely a cherry on top.
Once you beat the big badasses and clean out the base, you're supposed to win, aren't you? Where's your fat reward and ticket home? What the hell is this? It's not supposed to end this way.
This little text blurb at the end of the original Doom's first chapter is what I think about when listening to Damnation. In Doom 2016, after the Argent Tower is detonated, a permanent self-sustaining portal to Hell is opened up by Dr. Olivia Pierce before the Doomslayer can stop her. The ensuing portal transports much of the facility into Hell itself along with the Slayer, and it marks the first time the player steps into the realm of Hell in Doom 2016. All of the battles in this level, along with some additional battles in later levels returning to Hell, use this track as the backdrop for the arena fights. Most of the track consists of electronic percussion and short, succinct guitar plucks, but gets especially intense in the second half of the song when the choir joins with the other instruments as tougher demons pour into the fight. You've faced everything hell threw at you. You've made it to the last bit of resistance. There is nothing between you and the final battle that awaits. The Spider Mastermind. Which, if you think about it, is not a correctly classified specimen, as spiders are arachnids, which all have 8 legs as a defining trait, yet the Mastermind only has 4 in all of its incarnations, including that of Doom 26. Okay, I'm really overthinking this. Unlike the other pieces of music we've gone through from the Doom 2016 soundtrack, Mastermind doesn't feature any guitar or live percussion at all whatsoever. It's a really kick-ass final boss theme that also adds a little more musical diversity to this whole Doom playlist we got going here. Well, that wraps up everything we have for Doom 2016, but we've only covered 22 out of the 30 songs included in this Challenger Pack, which means we still have a final game to cover. Oh yeah, that's right. These last few tracks will be coming from the latest entry in the Doom franchise, which launched on March 20th, not too long ago. And I am, of course, talking about Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch. No, but seriously, of course I had to throw in some tracks from Doom Eternal. This isn't even up for debate. It's one of the best soundtracks of this year. I won't be providing much commentary for these since they're so fresh and I don't have much else to talk about without getting into their spoilery lore significances. Doom Eternal is jam-packed with incredible music, and because of this, there will surely be plenty of people's favorites that aren't included, even more so than the previous games, if I were to wager. With that caveat out of the way, let's check out the music we'll be getting from Doom Eternal. That covers all of the stage music, but before we finish this episode, we still have to check out the victory theme that plays when our great Slayer wins a match. Most of the 80 plus characters in the roster get a quick 5 to 7 second victory jingle, followed by an arrangement of the Smash 64 character select screen, which has been used since Smash 4. However, Cloud and Joker get extended looped themes which replace the character select screen arrangement. And Doomslayer is going to get one of these extended themes too. The first part of the jingle that plays is based off of the final couple of measures from Mick Gordon's version of At Doom's Gate, only in a higher key to match the original, kind of like the new arrangement used in Doom Eternal's opening. This quick jingle is then immediately followed by a brand new arrangement of Intermission from Doom, the music that plays upon reaching the exit in the original Doom. I whipped up this video to give a rough cut example of how this would all look in action, including the screen melt Easter egg I mentioned back in episode 2 of this series. The cover of Intermission from Doom used here is once again done by Andrew Hulschel. A huge thanks again for letting me use your music in this series.
Doomslayer wins!
But wait just a minute, Reese. You said there were 30 songs in this Challenger pack, but I kept careful count and you only mentioned 29. What are you hiding? Okay, hold on. There's one more song in this pack. I guess you could call it an Easter egg of sorts. So back in episode 2, when going over the character skins, I mentioned that the original DoomGuy skin would be an alternate costume for the Doomslayer. Well, if you use this costume with any of its 4 palette options, you'll get the original Intermission from Doom theme at the victory screen instead of this new version. Pretty cool Easter egg, right? Oh my gosh, guys, we made it. That was so much good music. Once again, a huge shout out to all of the talented musicians in the Doom fan community, and a final reminder that you can listen to all of their work in the video description. This video has gone on long enough, so no grandstanding outro this time. Y'all know the drill. Like if like, subscribe if no like. Next time, on the final episode of this series, can you believe we're already here? We'll cover all of the spirits, along with a bunch of extraneous Challenger Pack content that doesn't really warrant its own video. We'll just be bundling it all in the final episode and wrapping everything up with a nice bow on top. So stay tuned for that, and until next time, see you next mission.